Shah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, I'm amazed. I'm actually floored because after Mr. Jainraj's presentation, I was thinking, I'm killed. Means the way he's charged up the atmosphere and charged up the whole auditorium, it was like mind blowing. Means I'm like, wow, wow, this is amazing. So, so a little bit of things that I'm getting a lot of inspiration from and from all the speakers that have come in. Before I go into my presentation, what I would like to first do is basically give a hats off to so much of brain power in this room. Please give a big round of applause to yourselves, everyone. The technology, basically the future of technology and the future of the way we do business is being disrupted. Lalit mentioned this morning like the disruption, and then Mr. Jain also mentioned that things are changing, but disruption is fueling innovation. Disruption is a force for progress. That is something that is making us move forward, and disruption is a very, very critical thing that is happening, and you cannot ignore it. Disruption is creating opportunities. Disruption is something that is happening day in and day out. You cannot ignore it. Disruption is everywhere. I mean, in every industry that you look at, there is disruption happening every second of every minute, every hour of the day, disruption is happening. And what do you mean by disruption? So when we talk about disruption, basically in today's world, you have to be innovative, you have to be agile, you have to be operationally sound to succeed. Because without that, you're like going down. So I wanted to touch a little bit upon the waves of innovation, right? And as I said, disruption fuels innovation, right? So continuing from that thread, when you talk about waves of innovation, you see the waves. There's a wave chart on the slide. You see the waves, but you see they're coming narrower, right? So when in 1712, James Watt invented the steam engine, right? Then if you see, like, it took about close to about 100 years for Thomas Jefferson to invent the polygraph. Then if you move forward a little bit further, Alexander Graham Bell invented the telephone in 1876, right? You're seeing the trend. What I'm trying to get is basically you see moving fast forward to 1946, the first modern computer was invented, right? And then about 400,000 people were involved to put man on the moon in 1969, right? Moving forward, the PC was, the personal computer was invented in 1978 or something. It took how many years for? About 12 years after that for the internet browser to come up, even after PC was invented. Like, so it took 12 years for the PC, for the internet browser to appear after the PC was created. And then within 7 years, Facebook was invented, right? But if you look at it in the the smartphones started coming up in 2000, mid 2000, and then after that, like it took about 5 years for the sharing economy to come up in front, right? So what I'm trying to hint at is the waves of innovation are basically getting reduced, are getting shortened, are getting closer and closer, right? So if you look at like history, we learn a lot of things from history. As Mr. Jain said, right, he learned a language in 28, he learned English in 28 days. That was amazing. If you look at it from that perspective, we have all the history books that we can pick up and learn from there, right? So what I'm trying to hint at is that innovation, the pace of innovation is getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter. And technology is fueling innovation, right? So a big thing means you guys probably have, everybody has heard about Uber. So means my dad is 78 years old. He just used his Uber to come to Taj this morning. So it is changing. The technology is changing in our lives in such a different way. It's the disruption that I talked about is happening whether you believe it or not. right? So, like for Uber, like big time right now, Ola is doing a lot of good things in India. Means you've all heard about what things. I mean, you all probably a lot of you are using Uber, Ola or Uber or whatever the sharing companies that are available. If you heard of Lyft, that's another cab sharing company. They just last week I was reading they just tied up with General Motors to provide automated driverless cars for people to transport people. I don't know how it will work in India, but with all the cows and the buffaloes and dogs on the road and the auto rickshaws, that's probably something that probably if you are like think of it as an opportunity. So with all these obstacles on the road, if you can come up with an algorithm to make a driverless car work in India, you got it. Means that's something that can fuel innovation. So that could be something that you could focus on, right? Right. So just I'm just going to refer to some of my notes. Basically, what I wanted to say is, with all this disruption happening, you cannot afford to be complacent. You cannot afford to sit back and relax and say, oh, chal raha hai, chalega, everything is working fine the way the business is. I'm from Calcutta. I mean, I born and brought up in Calcutta, and the mentality that I saw there was, it's called in Bengali, it's called cholche cholbe. Means it's like, chal raha hai to chalega kind of thing, right? That will not work. In today's economy, in today's world, it will not work. You have to keep innovating every second, every day. You have to innovate. You have to come up with new things. You have to know your customers. You have to understand what is needed. You have to understand and you have to innovate. Otherwise, you're going to not survive. You're going to go down. So that's something. And history books means you can look up history books. There are a lot of companies. In fact, yesterday I was reading an article in the paper yesterday. HMT, the big watch provider, the biggest one in India, is like shutting down, right? Means like they failed to innovate, and that's why they're going down. Means why? Because they said that, oh yeah, we are the timekeeper of the nation. That's what their tagline was. Not timekeepers to the nation. But now what happened, right? Means there are so many things that are coming up in the watch. Technology is changing how you look at time. Means Apple Watch and smart watches and all that stuff are coming in. They fail to innovate and they are going down. So these are some, and as I said, I mean, that's just one example, but history books are filled with companies that have gone down the drain because they failed to innovate. They failed to step up to the game. They failed because they thought that, yeah, we can continue with our existing business model and it will work, but no, it will not work. So the point that I'm trying to make is, continue to challenge yourself, continue to look into the stuff that you're working on and continue to evaluate, right? And continue to basically shift and change based on what the industry is doing and what you are bringing to the table, right? Going to the next slide. So before I go to the next slide, just wanted to give some stats around Uber. Uber is now 4 times the $12 billion size of Hertz and Avis, which are one of the biggest rental car companies in the world, right? So with that, they basically disrupted the entire industry of how you take a cab. How do you take a cab, or how do you take a taxi? Like, and same thing, Ola is doing wonderful work in India, where they are basically changing the entire game. Means they're completely changing the industry altogether. Going to, like, you probably have, I mean, most of you are. In fact, I was talking to someone yesterday, and basically they mentioned that they just used Airbnb to book their vacation. So apparently, like, this is also here in India, but Oyo Rooms is doing a lot of great work there. So that's another sharing company, right? With basically, if you look at some stats around Airbnb, they are just 800 people company. That's it. They are 800 people company, but they are offering 1 million rooms worldwide in multiple countries. They have gone into Cuba, where even Marriott, Hilton, intercontinental hotels, they have not been able to penetrate because of various political reasons. But Airbnb is offering rooms in Cuba if you want to go to Cuba. So look at the power of sharing economy. Look at the power of internet. It is completely disrupting the industry. I mean, that's something which you can do. I mean, it is mind-boggling the amount of business that is generated, right? Where, like, just to compare it again back to with Airbnb, and so Marriott, Intercontinental, Hilton, they provide 700,000 plus rooms each. So each of them have a 700,000 plus inventory of rooms that they provide, with 250 times more employees than Airbnb. So Airbnb is doing wonders with, and that's the same thing for other startups. There are multiple startups in that space. Of course, Oyo Rooms is doing great work here, as I said, with so few resources. Like we talked about resources, right? With the minimum resources. Lalit pointed out this morning about the less number of people or less number of resources, zero investment. I mean, of course, there is some investment when you want to customer perspective. I mean, think of, you are customers for so many things, right? So, I mean, we buy and sell. We rather, I would say, buy. So we are customers for so many things. So what do you want actually? Think about it that way. When you're thinking about an entrepreneurship, you think about that way. Put yourself as your customer. What do you want actually? You want something which is fast, which is something which is reliable, and you are wanting to have a secure transaction. These are three key things that you would look for if you want to do anything in the business or anything online, right? You want something which is really fast. You want something which is really secure. I mean, you don't want to give your credit card information and that be stolen and hacked and everything, right? So we are hearing a lot about hacks, and we have heard about all the things that have happened and your identity getting stolen and all that stuff. So you want something which is secure. Otherwise, you are not going to trust it. So if you are thinking of a startup, you have to make sure that it is fast. It is providing a service which is fast, which is secure, and of course, which is reliable. I mean, we have a lot of examples, right? Flipkart, we heard about it this morning. I mean, why do you do business on Flipkart? I mean, why do you buy and sell on Flipkart? It's fast, it's reliable, and of course, it is secure, right? So that's something that all customers are looking for, and every industry, means it's just not the IT industry, but every industry is being shaken up. Every industry that you can think of. I mean, we heard Premchand Bhai talked about the spice industry, right? That is being shaken up. He's doing a lot of analysis and all the stuff that he's bringing to the table. I mean, that was not there previously. I mean, that is a completely different tradition, different model, business model. They are changing it. So entire industry, every industry is getting shaken up. Yesterday, Kalpraj Bhai talked about the stock market, right? If you think about it, it's completely changing. Earlier we used to rely on brokers for information to get all the, okay, this is the stock price, this is what it is going to be, this is some advice. Now, you don't rely on, you go online, you do your stock, whatever you want to trade, you do your research. Again, no tips, but you do your research and then you invest. And that is what will help you make an investment and make you forward, right? So the point I'm going to make is every industry is being shaken up. And whichever industry you are in, whichever traditional business models that you are in, is getting disrupted and getting shaken up. So, moving on to shifting gears a little bit, right? We just wanted to kind of a show of hands. How many of you like Amitabh Bachchan? So that's a brand. Brand is something that basically entices you to come and either buy a product or watch a movie or look at do a consumer service, right? So a brand entices you basically, but how does it entice you? How does it brings you back? Why do you want to go and watch another Amitabh Bachchan movie? I mean, because you know that he is himself a brand. I mean, I got an opportunity when I was at Symbiosis to hear him speak, and amazing. I mean, the guy is like absolutely phenomenal. I don't have to emphasize on that, but he's called Big B for no reason, right? So that's his brand. He is there when I was at Symbiosis teaching there. So he used to be a guest lecturer as well at Symbiosis, and it was amazing to hear somebody speak and talk, and the way, the charisma, everything about him has an aura behind it. People were dying to get into that conference room to hear him speak. Why? Because the brand, because of the things that he provided, the things that he brought onto the table, the way he changed the entire cinema industry, right? If you look at it, means the angry young man of Indian cinema, right? So it is something that makes you come back again and again. If you can build that brand, then you will get more customers. If you can build that brand, people will come back to you. And think about some good experiences as well as bad experiences you might have had, right? It's the experience basically of watching a great movie by Amitabh Bachchan that brought you back into him, you became a fan. It is a great experience that makes a person a fan of someone or a product or a service or a film star, right? So, and then that makes you come back again and again. And again, as I said, I mean, everything is getting powered by software these days, right? So and when it comes to a software, I mean, since we are talking about IT and emerging business, I mean, a lot of it is powered by software. So, and when it comes to software, basically, experience is everything. I mean, it can be a difference that it can make you an epic success or it can make you an epic failure. I mean, failure is obviously, we heard yesterday also about failure. I mean, a lot of people talked about it. It is something which is, make sure that you keep in mind that definitely there is failure if there is success. It's the two sides of the coin, right? So without that, it's basically the brand and the experience, the customer experience that is that you provide as an entrepreneur will make you or break you, basically. Right? So in terms of think about so maybe a question to ask the audience would be: hey, can someone tell me an experience that was a great experience that you had and you recommended that service to somebody else, right? So is there somebody who can talk about an experience that you had which was a great experience online? So example, you're buying something online or something like that. So yeah. Uber, yeah, right? So you had a great experience because you used Uber service and you were able to. So now you had a first time that you used it, you were apprehensive. My dad, when he used Uber, he was like, "Oh, how will I use it? What will happen if I call it? Will it come? Will I get a?" So there was a lot of hesitation the first time, right? So. But then he had a great experience, and now he's recommending, oh, how to Uber use kiya tha, tu ko na use kiya. It's like that, right? So that great experience, when you have a great experience, and when you as an entrepreneur provide a great experience, you will get customers that will come back. They will talk to their friends, they will talk to their family, they will talk to the people in the building. अरे यार तू क्या Uber use नहीं करता यार, मैं तो यार गया था, it was such a great experience. So you will keep telling and promoting that brand if you have a great experience. But think that if you have any good bad experience, think about a bad experience online. If you were trying to buy something and the site crashed. IRCTC is one great example, like Air India, IRCTC. Whenever I used to try and book a ticket, first of all, I have to log in at 7:55 a.m. in the morning to make sure I'm connected while the ticket window opens up at 8 a.m. or whatever the time is. And then as soon as I tried, the site hangs, right? I had no choice but to book a ticket because that was the only portal which was allowing me at that point in time to book a ticket on irctc.com. But think about it. I was so frustrated booking a train ticket that it used to continue to say, "Oh my God, IRCTC का ticket book करना, अरे आप तो गया काम." So it was like a bad experience if you have. I know it's a very common sense, but if you have a bad experience, you are not going to like it, and you are going to tell thousands other people that, "अरे boss, ये तो कचरा है, ये इसको use ही नहीं करना." Like if you have a good experience, you are probably gonna. Let's say you have a good experience yesterday and today staying at this Taj Vivanta. I basically this morning put a good review on TripAdvisor saying, oh, I love the experience, the rooms were great service, the reception when I came in was great service. And 1,000 other people are going to be reading that message. You don't know how many people are going to read it, right? So it is something that makes it, experience is everything. When I say that, it is experience. The customer, the bottom line is basically the customer experience is the prime differentiator. So when you're thinking about your product, thinking about a new service or a new something that you're building or delivering, think about it as a end-to-end customer experience, right? So coming to the tagline, I mean, if you look at it today, every company is a software company, right? Means we have examples, prime examples. Nike, who would think Nike is a software company? Means Nike is making running shoes, right? But now with the digital, what is it called? There's one app that they have, Nike Run or something it's called, right? With that, they are transforming the entire athletic industry. I mean, Nike is great at building brand too. I was talking about brand a little bit earlier. They are great at brand too. They never advertise themselves in the print. If you have seen Nike ads, you would never see that they're talking about their shoes or anything like that. They never compare themselves with Adidas or Reebok, right? They will always say they actually honor great athletes. They honor great athletics. That is what they are. That is the brand. And you buy Nike because you associate Nike with Tiger Woods, right? So I play golf. So I like to get inspired by, oh, if Nike is supporting Tiger Woods, it is something which is a brand, right? So when I go to my son is playing golf and he's saying, Dad, I want a Nike hat. Okay, I want a Nike pair of shoes. Why? Oh, because Tiger Woods wears it. So it's that brand that makes it happen, and it's a good experience, a good product that makes that brand. Right? Amazon, but I see a lot of people in the room here. I saw Kenji Bhai using WhatsApp this morning. So he doesn't know that he's using AWS, Amazon Web Services. My dad doesn't know that when he used Uber, he doesn't know that he's using Amazon, but because their servers are on Amazon. So Amazon Web Services, they provide all the servers and capacity and storage on it. They might be using Amazon, I'm not sure, but what I'm trying to say is, like, from a bookseller to the biggest retailer. Means now Amazon is also doing e-commerce business in India as well. But think about it, it's amazing, right? So it's become from a book selling company to a software company. Another good example is Tesco. I don't know if you have heard of Tesco, but Tesco is a grocery store, a grocery chain in the United Kingdom. And what they've done is completely, they stuck to their model of selling groceries. But the way that they are doing business is completely changed. This is a great example. Like, you are riding the metro, the subway trains in the UK, and once you get down at the train station, there is a big ad of, there's a big wall which has all the different groceries that you would want to buy, like apples or fruits or vegetables or milk or juice or whatever. You have an app which you just pointed to that product that you want to buy, and you say submit, and once you do that, by the time you reach home, that product is delivered to your doorstep. That's an amazing business model. I mean, they're still in the model, they're still in the business of selling groceries, but the way that they have changed, they have disrupted the industry is amazing, and they are using software. And they have become a software company. So if you look at it, that is also a software company, even though their business is traditionally selling groceries. You look at GE, I don't have to talk about that, but GE has more than 100,000 software engineers. And it's making turbines, it's making aircraft engines, it's making appliances. So going back to the stock market and the relevant examples here, stock market is also powered by software. Spice industry is powered by software. I mean, whatever you can think of. Yesterday, Bhuvanji Bhai talked about the pumps and the diaphragm walls, and so that's also, that industry is being powered by software. I mean, everything that you're doing, architecture engineering, so all the architecture and the CAD drawings that you're doing powered by software, if you don't even know. We have so many chartered accountants in this room. Can you raise their hands who is a chartered accountant here? Lot of chartered accountants, right? So lot means you don't know, but you are a software company. The things that you're doing auditing, you're doing accounting, books, P&L, whatever, balance sheets, you're doing on software. You're using either some kind of a software to deliver that service to your customers, right? So you don't realize it, but every one of us is impacted by software. But what are the real disruptors? Your customers are the real disruptors. So they are the changers of the game. They are your real, if you were to look at it, you have to factor in your customers. And business, completely, all the businesses that we talked about are basically businesses being rewritten by software. So that's something that we probably need to keep in mind whenever you are looking at a starting of an entrepreneurship journey. But understand actually that it's just not enough to have these applications, right? It is the user, means if you look at it from a user journey, the consumerization of IT, and basically it's the options that are available to customers is enormous, the number of options that but you definitely must pay attention to the quality of the app. So there is proven statistics and proven metrics that 25% of your customers will abandon your website if it does not load within 3 seconds or more. Last year it was about 5 seconds. This year it's now 3 seconds. So they will not go to your website if your website is like if it is refreshing 3 seconds or more, right? If you look at it, if you're building an app, if you're building a mobile app, right, you have to get it right the first time. First time you have to get it right, because it's proven metrics, it's proven statistics that 90% of your customers who have downloaded your app, and if it does not work in the first try itself, will never ever touch your app again. So an advice to the budding entrepreneurs here, who are working on mobile platforms or mobile apps, make sure you get it right the first time. Before you launch it, you do thorough testing around it. And unless and until you are pretty confident and you have run it through a lot of beta testing and stuff, don't launch it if you are not 100% sure that it will work the first time right and absolutely delight the customer, right? Because they will not come back to your app if they have a bad experience. We all know about the Facebook IPO losses, right? It was apparently a system failure. There was the word that they use is called system problems or something. Because of that, during its IPO, when it was launching the IPO, Facebook, there was a loss of $500 million that the traders had to face, and it created a havoc on NASDAQ, right? And also apparently, because of that, they had to pay $10 million in fines to the SEC. That is because of system problem. They didn't test it well. They didn't make it the entire journey. They didn't have. They thought about the entire customer experience. So when you are looking at it from a customer experience perspective, think about the entire journey, right? Think about it from the end-to-end perspective. If you look at it from a customer, there is a buyer's journey, and then there is a user journey, and then again a buyer journey, right? So buyer's journey happens, everything that happens before the person buys a product, service, or whatever it is that you are trying to sell, right? So you have to think through that and make sure that user experience is as seamless. Our money is in our pocket, but no. That does not work in today's world. You got the money in your pocket, but then there is a constant issue of returns, right? So if you are in the retail industry, there is a constant issue of returns. So think through that. Think through the entire buyer journey, then the user journey. So you have to make sure that if your product, once they are up and running, they have to be up and running within 30 seconds. You have to design a product in such a way that it is up and running within 30 seconds, right? So I'm getting some flags behind, so a short of time, so I'm going to rush this a little bit. So moving on a little bit, so some inspiration from Steve Jobs. If today was the last day of your life, would you want to do what you are about to do today? So think about that. There's a lot of meaning behind it in terms of what he brought to the table and brought a lot of innovation mantras that he gave to the table. I know I'm sorry that you guys are hungry, but I'm just trying to rush through a little bit. So I wanted to share like last two slides I have, but I wanted to share some key innovation mantras that Steve Jobs had, right? So in terms of his first mantra that he had was do what you love. Like yesterday, Wanji Bhai said, I love diaphragm walls, right? So and that's what made him successful, right? So Steve Jobs loved what he did. So do what you love to do. Don't because in our traditional family values, you can only become a doctor, or you can only become an engineer, or you can only become a chartered accountant. But that's been changing, right? So do what you love to do. Then only you will be successful. And that was something that he talked about, and he pursued it throughout his life, even though it was he had so many hurdles around the way. Have the courage to basically follow your heart and also your intuition. They know what you are capable of, and they will take you where you are supposed to go, right? Another thing that he said was put a dent in the universe. Put a dent in the by that he meant is about innovation. He was talking about that in terms of his vision. So put a dent with your vision. So innovation is about basically, it doesn't happen in a vacuum. You have to have a vision that you take it and make something out of it, right? So you have to have a vision as well as the innovation behind the scenes, but make sure that you have a vision to put a dent in the universe. He wanted to change the entire world with iPhones and with the things that he brought to the table. So ask yourself, what is the vision for your product, right? Product, brand, or service, or career, right? Think about it that way, and then keep thinking about it and also implementing what needs to happen. So in terms of putting a dent in the universe, that's what he was referring to, right? The other thing that he said was kickstart your brain. Think about, so it's about creativity, right? It's about, creativity is basically nothing but how you think and what you are kind of giving and new ideas. And so what he said was kickstart your brain. Basically start thinking about what you're thinking differently is the way you think. So that's also something that was very inspiring from his discussions that he had. He also said that sell dreams, not products. Your customers are not interested in your products. Your customers are not interested in your company. Your customers are interested in themselves. They are thinking about their own dreams. Help them fulfill their dreams. Help them fulfill their ambitions. Help them fulfill what they are looking for. Then you will be successful. Otherwise, you cannot be successful. If you think that the customers care about your product, they don't care about anything about your product. If they say, "Alright, theek hai yaar, koi bhi hai," whatever, right? But if you can help fulfill their dreams, then you will be successful. So that's something that was very a great thing that he had talked about, and that's a good thing that we can take. Create insanely great experiences. I touched a little bit about the experiences, right? The customer experience. So if you go to an Apple store, there is no cashiers there. There are no cashiers. They changed a completely different model. They completely brought about a gold standard of customer service. There are no cashiers there. There are geniuses. They call themselves. They call themselves experts and consultants, but there are no cashiers. They changed the way customer service is delivered and absolutely changed the game of how people buy a technology product, right? So what they're saying, what he said was, don't try to move the product, enrich the lives of your customers, and then you will see the success in your product, right? He also said, say no to 1,000 things, and believe in yourself and take what you love and make it successful. There will be a lot of people, they will say, I heard somebody say yesterday, oh, my dad doesn't like that I am doing stock broking. But if you love to do that, do it, but do it with all your research and all your metrics in straight. You have your analytics in straight, right? So it's only by saying no, you can concentrate on the things that you love and that you can make it successful. And of course, the last one that he said was master the message. So this is something that You can have the most innovative idea in the world, but if you cannot present it, if you cannot excite customers about it, if you cannot excite people about it, nobody will care. Right? So it is something that you have to master that message. You have to be able to deliver that message. You have to be able to make your customers excited about something. You have to make and you have to make them believe that your product is something that they want. You have to know them better. You have to know them much better than they like. I think somebody said. I think Lalit, you said that, or somebody Bansal said that these days people know more than other people know from your families. People would not know, but the other people know more about you than even your families and friends, right? So make sure that you know what they want, and then you will be successful. He also said, I mean, that's something that I practice a lot. Is if you are presenting something, don't have bullet points in your presentation. Means you use visuals. Visuals creates. You can keep the visuals, and the retention rate is 65% if you use visuals, but it is only 10% if you use just words on your slides, right? So have that ability to present your message and excite your customers. And the biggest one, like I think this has been, this is my last slide, but the biggest thing that he said was dream bigger. And we heard this like yesterday as well as today. Dream bigger. It's basically one of the ultimate, I think it's the ultimate lesson that he teaches us basically, that innovation requires risk taking. Means you have to be able to take a risk, a calculated risk, not just, risk le liya, if I jump here, I'll be fine. It's not like that. You have to take a calculated risk. You have to know. And he also said that it needs a bit of craziness. You have to be crazy. I mean, if you want to succeed, you have to be a crazy man or a woman. So you have to be crazy in order to succeed. And of course, taking risks is something that, and only then, basically, he said, innovation will be allowed to flourish. Means only then you can deliver an incredible customer experience. Only then you can make your brand successful. And only then, coming back to my disruption message earlier, only then can you disrupt the industry. Only then can you deliver the next Apple to the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devan. I think there is one WhatsApp joke is there. 6 apples, 60 rupees, and apple 6, 60,000 rupees. So I think with this presentation, I think the Apple vendor will also be selling his apples on Apple 6 now. I hope that's the precise message you wanted to do. I request Sri Nayan Vedaji, Nayan Veda, please come forward. Immediate past president of Mumbai Mahajan to honor a speaker over here.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And now the next versatile personality to come on the stage is none other than our chairman of this global summit, K.L. Tilakchandra.